Hello and welcome back to the Across the Pod NFL podcast. I am, as ever, your host, Andy Davis, here to review the Divisional Round in the NFL playoffs. As we now know, the 4 teams left, potentially going to the Super Bowl. And with me today, I've got a first timer on the podcast. He is a writer for Vavel. He's also an NFL content creator. With us today is Ben Conway. Ben, how are you? Good to have you on.
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me, Andy. It's great to be here.
Yeah, always good to have new guests. We'd like to ask all our new guests the same sort of questions, and you are a Giants fan. So, Ben,
Unfortunately,
what made you a Giants fan?
So I started off as a Texans fan, but
Okay.
I didn't really watch NFL. My friend was a Jags fan. I thought the rivalry would be quite funny, and we used to just play catch all the time. When we were meant to be playing football, we were playing catch, and then I just didn't really care about the sport. And then I went to America for 2 summers in a row working there, and all my friends there supported either the Jets or the Giants. And being a Tottenham fan as well, I didn't really know much, so I looked up. The Giants have played in the UK the year before. I saw Saquon Barkley wearing a Spurs shirt, and then there I just became a Giants fan. And
Kind of,
ever since, I've looked back every day wondering why I chose them. It's rough. It's hard work.
especially considered, the fact that you mentioned Saquon Barkley and seeing him in the Spurs shirt turned you to a Giants fan a little bit, and of course, what he's doing now, not with the
Mental.
Giants, has to also question your decision a bit more.
Yeah. I mean, he's so good, I just can't hate him. And I want the best for him, but I'm very jealous.
I can imagine. I mean, can't say much as a Dolphins fan. I've not really had much sort of joy either. So I think between the both of us, we've had probably a very painful last 8 years or so.
Yeah, it's hard work.
Yeah, I can imagine. But we are here to talk all things NFL and all things divisional round. And the first game was on Saturday at 9:30 p.m. in the UK as the Chiefs took on the Texans. And it was one, you mentioned hard work, and it was once again hard work watching a game where the referees get so involved in this game. I mean, final score was 23-14. I think taking the referees aside for a moment, I think the one takeaway I have is how crucial those kicks missed were by Kaimi Fairbairn, because
For sure,
point in
yeah.
the game, I think early on, I think it was in the first quarter or maybe second quarter where he missed the field goal. I think it was 51 yards with the wind.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can sort of see how he missed that, but the extra point he missed, that was probably inexcusable. I think you look at how the game ended. I think the fact that they were getting sort of near the end zone at one point in the game. I think if you look at the way that game was ending, if they had the extra point, that's 15 points. If you had the extra 3 points, that's 18 points. Then that's looking at 6, 7 points to either win the game or tie it. And I think
agree.
it brings a whole different mindset to your game plan. I mean, I know obviously Chiefs could have still gone and won. It could have still been,
Yeah, I mean, everyone watching that game did expect the Chiefs to win. So, I mean, there was upsets throughout the weekend, but that was one that was nailed on. I don't think anyone thought the Chiefs would lose that. And they proved us right. They won. I mean, maybe a bit of black magic again. I know D'Amico Ryan said that they knew what they were going to go up against. Will Anderson Jr., he had I think it was like a legal contact penalty, which really helped the Chiefs, and he wasn't happy about that. I just think, how long can this go on for? Can they go all the way?
That's the thing, and I've been saying all year long, I can see it being either Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen, and then for those who don't know the score for some reason, we'll leave that bit for who actually won the game later on. But I've always had the image of one of those two quarterbacks lifting that AFC title. Now I realise that the Chiefs won the game; they're going to be hosting the AFC Championship game, and there's all that advantage to it. The home crowd, the fact it's a familiar ground for the Chiefs. But I think then the three-peat is there, and they are chasing history. And Kelsey was we haven't seen him all year. He was back to his best, and he's sort of stayed himself now. And I think he'll want to. I can see him retiring. I think he's talked about it in his podcast that he might retire if they do the three, which is a Peyton Manning-esque great way to end your career, winning, going out on top. But I don't know whether they can sustain this long term, because the defense is for me, the main reason I'm winning the game. I don't really put it down to Patrick Mahomes too much. A little bit because he's making the plays, the extending plays with his legs, and he's that throw to I think it was to Kelsey in the game was
Yeah,
up.
the touchdown was fantastic.
Yeah, and that for me was that's exactly what he can do. He can just in these big moments when it matters, he's there delivering it. And the defense could easily go out and win this game alone. But I just don't know whether against an opposition like the Ravens or Bills in the next game, I just don't know whether. I just think at some point, like Brady always beat Manning, but there's some years where he didn't. He finally lost to him, and I think at some point, not even the best teams win every year. Look at Man City right now. I know there's no issue
for sure.
The Chiefs, but I just think that at some point the luck's going to run out, and I do think that this just feels to me, and I know I'm giving a little bit of spoiler into our preview for the Bills Chiefs episode later on this week, but I just think that at some point it's going to run out their luck.
I think the momentum after beating the Ravens, Josh Allen will go to Arrowhead and he will put on a show. Like, I think no matter how good they are, how lucky they get, the Chiefs are a phenomenal team. When Kelsey's performing like he did on Saturday, it's very hard to stop him. I think Mahomes, he's a top 3 QB in the league, maybe not number 1, but we know what he can do when it gets to it. And it's going to be a very exciting game.
Well, let's get into that now. Let's get on to who their AFC opponent will be, and it will be the Buffalo Bills, who beat the Ravens by 27 points to 25 in Sunday Night Football. It was a really good game. I think probably for me, I think we all know it was the game of the week going into it, and I think it's really up to that. I think there was a point where the Bills looked like they're getting slightly out of reach, and then the Ravens came back into it, and poor Mark Andrews, he's become the victim.
Yeah, I felt really bad for him. I mean, it wasn't just that the 2-point conversion drop. He had a fumble earlier on in the game, and when that happens, just confidence is just low, and you need a catch like that to get the 2 points, get the game level, to bring the confidence back up heading into overtime, and it's a big shame, really.
I mean, yeah, it is, because you think even not to do that. I mean, think about the sort of drop from Henry. And I love the guy. It was a shame. He's the reason why I was rooting for the Ravens to win it. But you think about the Lamar Jackson fumble as well, and that even came from previous play. It came from a Mark Andrews drop. But I think the Mark Andrews one I find the most problem with. I don't really see that much of a problem with the ending, because that is these things happen. But I think the one where he catches the ball, he gets in the first down, then he just moves, he changed direction, and then that fumble happens. That for me was the killer, because they were getting momentum. They were on an amazing drive from Lamar Jackson, and from a guy who has been criticised for his career, Lamar Jackson, for not getting done in the big games. But I thought in this game, really, you can't really fault him too much apart from the usage. He got them back into the game, and to all the hard
that last drive of the game it was all him. And he moved the chains, and he got the touchdown, and then a 2-point conversion, and they failed another 2-point conversion as well that game. So, and I've seen it's the same play that they've done 3 times this season, which they failed the whole time for their 2 points, and it's just a shame, really. I don't actually think the Bills are that good. It wasn't as exciting as I thought it was going to be. The points scored, I mean, 27-25. There was a lot of points on the board, but I thought it was going to be 40-40 or something much better. But Josh Allen didn't throw a passing touchdown either. He wasn't too convincing in the air. I think James Cook was probably one of the best players on the Bills' offense last night.
I think he's been such a crucial part of this team, James Cook, because you think about really Josh Allen is really almost trying to do it on his own. But I think you've got someone like James Cook to hand it off to, and he's got 16 touchdowns this year, joint with 2 other players, and I forget who they are now. The 3 players all in 16 touchdowns, and he's been such a great asset, and I think he's been one of the more integral parts of his Bills. I think if they're going to win the Super Bowl, I think it's as much down to him as it is to Josh Allen. Obviously, Josh Allen will get the headlines, and he is
of course,
the MVP for me, and I think he. It's so crucial to see, but I think you've got someone like James Cook to sort of sometimes. I think there's been times in the past where Josh Allen has been almost having to do it all himself. I think now you've got someone like James Cook who can relieve that, and it's probably been a big reason why he has been, an MVP front runner along with Jackson this year, because because of that reason. And I think this game as well probably solidifies Allen's MVP credentials. Do you think about these are the two? I think you could look at other players like Saquon Barkley. I think they're the three. But I think in terms of Allen or Mahomes, it is a quarterback who normally gets it. I think in this game alone, I think the fact that Lamar Jackson had multiple mistakes, interception, fumble, whilst no touchdown for Josh Allen passing wise, he did get 2 rushing touchdowns, and he was pretty much, I don't recall any mistakes really from him that big. So I think this game, I think in a big moment, obviously divisional round is such a huge weekend of NFL football. For Allen to come out on top, I think it probably means now that it's between him and Saquon Barkley.
And obviously with the weather, it didn't help either. I mean, Buffalo are used to that. They're used to the snow. The Ravens, not so much. Maybe that had an impact on Andrew's catch in the 2-point conversion.
Yeah. I think for the Ravens as well, I think you will view it as a chance miss. I think whoever lost this game was always going to be, viewing it as a chance miss. I think both these teams deserve to be in the championship game in the AFC. I really do think the Ravens have been unlucky. But at the same time, they made these mistakes. They caused the fumbles. I think, it's a shame because I was rooting for the Ravens. I think a lot of people were rooting for Lamar Jackson and stuff like that.
To be honest, I was just hoping either of them beat Mahomes and the Chiefs. Didn't matter which one, but either one.
That's the thing. I mean, I look at all the teams left, and I think for me, I can't think anyone apart from Chiefs fans I want them to win this game. I mean, there may be a case where division rival of a certain team plays, and they might think, "Oh, okay, then." I know a few Dolphins fans I know are cheering on the Chiefs next week. I'm more of the mindset of build, let them win, and let them then lose in the Super Bowl. That'll first of all bring them more heartache, and also would just mean the Chiefs will win. Because I think even just not even to do with that alone, I think I just want to see something fresh. I don't want to see a Chiefs, Chiefs Eagles rematch. I don't want to see that. And I don't want to see Chiefs win a game. I think we all know what the one we want is. Speaking of which, actually, Ben, what do Netflix subscribers and the Detroit Lions have in common?
Not sure.
We're always looking for the next season. The Lions are out of the playoffs, which is a shock.
Crazy. Wow.
Fashion. I mean, 45-31 to the Washington Commanders. Actually, before we carry on, I want to shout out a friend of mine, Hal. Got to watch the weekend's action in his cabin. He has an amazing man cave. I went to visit in Cardiff, and he is a listener of the show. So, Hal, if you are listening, I had a great time at yours, and so we watched the Chiefs Texans game. It was all good. That was all fine. It was good. We all wanted the Texans to win. And then I can't do late nights. I went home, got an Uber home, and I watched the Lions Commanders game in the morning. And Hal told me they did a drinking game, where they would drink a shot for every touchdown scored in the Lions Commanders game.
Oh my God! They must have been drunk by the end of the second quarter.
I can imagine so, because that second quarter alone was utterly amazing. Looking at the stats now, there was.
I said it's the best quarter of football I've ever seen.
I have got one caveat. I think that Bills Chiefs fourth quarter. In that round,
someone said that, and Patriots Falcons, but for me personally, in recency, that's up there for sure. It was incredible.
Yeah, I mean, looking at that quarter alone, I mean, in 11 game minutes, there were 6 touchdowns, a pick 6, and an interception. I mean,
it's crazy.
From the Lions' point of view, I mean, we talk about the Ravens missing a chance. This
have to be disappointed.
The Lions team, for me, this was their chance. I mean, if Ben Johnson stays, fair enough. Aaron Glenn stays, fair enough.
But Ben Johnson's already gone.
Is it? Okay, I've not checked the news.
He's to the Bears. Confirmed.
Okay, so that's even more.
And apparently Aaron Glenn is either going to the Jets or the Saints, which is also pretty big news. Not confirmed though, but I've just seen that around.
I mean, on the Lions' point of view, I mean, they with now Ben Johnson going, Aaron Glenn might be going. I mean, we've seen the Niners change coordinators and still do well, make a Super Bowl again. But a lot of teams, they lose their coordinators and they never recover. The Falcons lost Kyle Shanahan, and I can't think of what they lost, but they've never been the same since.
Yeah.
The Panthers lost coordinators, never the same since. And I think the Lions will feel like in a game where against the Commanders, who, albeit with 12-5, they were the 6th seed, they felt like as a 1 seed. We all moaned about why is Campbell playing, the starters in the meaningless game in week 17, obviously before the week 18 game, and they absolutely demolished the Lions in week 18. You thought, okay, have a rest now, they'll be absolutely fine. But we saw this with the Ravens a few years ago when they were number 1 seed against the Titans. The Lions team, the bye week may have been the worst thing for them because they just seemed completely disjointed. It just didn't
lost the momentum.
And Jared Goff had,
a horrible game.
I mean, I'm writing a piece at the moment on this. We all talk about this Goff Stafford trade and the fact that, who won the trade? Is it them? Is it them? And I think it's been for a while established that I think both of them won the trade. Of course, Rams.
Yeah, of course.
Lions use their picks to go out and get.
And the draft picks, phenomenal picks.
Mia Gibbs, Sam Laporta. But I've got to say, this weekend, we'll get onto the Rams in a bit, but I think this weekend proved that I think the Rams won the trade because this is another big game where Jared Goff crumbles. Think about the game against the Niners last year. Of course, we can look back at the Rams, the game against the Patriots, where frankly everyone sucked in that game. But Goff again. I mean, I love Goff. He's an MVP outsider. Probably
I think he's been fantastic, throughout the year. It's just the big moments. Poor. He let himself down. He let the team down. To be honest,
that's the thing. And I think you look at we'll go on Stafford in a bit as well. But I think with this game and a lot of games he's played in, at least they've been close. I don't recall many games where the Rams in big games, Stafford particularly in big games, has been blown out. Even when he was at the Lions, he took teams close. Think like that Cowboys game when he was playing for the Lions years and years ago. And I just feel like it's another game where Goff, it's sort of that Kirk Cousins to that line where they're really good when in not meaningless games, but games where it's not too much significance, regular season games. But it's another game for Jared
when
Goff.
It matters.
When it matters. I think I love Goff. I love him as a person. I think he's been an amazing story. Taken out to Los Angeles, seen as a bit part player, goes to the Lions and has a great time after a difficult first year there. And I think there's not really too much else. Obviously, the defense let up 45 points.
I mean, I think the defense had been brilliant all season, but what was going on there?
Yeah, it's been. I talked about it in the preview. Actually, I did worry about this Lions defense being leaky, but I didn't think it'd be against. I was worried more against the Rams or the Eagles in the next round. I didn't think they would lose.
Yeah. I think a player obviously they've had their fair share of injuries and they've had a lot of injuries, and that really doesn't help. It ruins the momentum. It ruins a lot. Then I think Joseph, he felt like he should have been in the Pro Bowl. He wasn't. I feel like he was thinking about that a lot, posting tweets after the game as well. But in terms of the Lions as a whole, I think last year when they lost it to the 49ers, they bottled it. There's no way about it. They should have won that game. They should have been in the Super Bowl. But I feel like people gave them the benefit of the doubt because they had just won their first playoff game in who knows how long. But then they come back this year, a fantastic record, 15-3, the NFC number 1 seed, and then they get blown out. It's disappointing, extremely disappointing, and it's a shame because I was rooting for the Lions. I bought a Jahmyr Gibbs jersey 2 days before the game. It arrives, I wear it, and they lose. So I feel like I've cursed them.
People call me a curse of the Dolphins, but I think I think you are. I think Lions fans, if you are listening to this podcast, you know.
I'm sorry, Lions fans.
I think whilst we can criticise Goff and this Lions team has really missed their chance because I think other teams are going to get better in the NFC. But we have to praise Jayden Daniels. For me, for a rookie to do this, another big game. We saw Stroud do it last year, but Daniels did it in a second game in a row. I mean, 299 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground, 51 yards rushing. I mean, I said it before, and I think we all know now that the Commanders have a real star in their hands.
He's the real deal.
He is. Because for me, it's not just winning a game where you've won by a few points or you sneaked it in at the end. It's a low-scoring affair, maybe 12-6 or 12-9. Score 45 points against one of the number 1 seed in the conference as a 6th seed. To do that as a rookie on the road, in such a big moment, I think for me, it's just a fantastic performance. And this performance is one of the stories of the season. I think
I think it's the biggest upset, maybe in the last few years. I'm not sure, but I just think defense did their job. They were fantastic. Offense, fantastic. Jayden Daniels, unbelievable. Like, they didn't put a foot wrong. And as a Giants fan, I am happy for them. I'm happy for Jayden Daniels. He's Malik Neighbour's best friend. I can't not be happy for him. But it makes me sick, that video where we could have got him. Brian Dable spoke to him. Our general manager's son said pick Jayden Daniels, trade up for him, and look how good he is now. It's a shame.
There was I saw something. I find it now, and it was on NFL memes. There was a point. Yeah, it was last year. The LSU coach had Jayden Daniels, Malik Neighbours, and Brian Thomas, and did make the playoffs. You think about how good they've all been.
They have been
all
fantastic.
three of them have been fantastic, and not to take the playoffs. I think that probably alone has probably ruled him out of any sort of head coaching gig in the NFL. I think that's a shocking thing for them. But
it really is.
This Commanders team, I mean, I know a few Commanders fans they must to go from 4 wins and just I've never seen this team be good. I've been a fan of the sport 14 years, properly a fan of the sport since 2015. Never seen them be, whether it's the Redskins football team or the Commanders, never seen them good. I've seen them win a division with a losing record. I missed Robert Griffin, third rookie season boat. I never ever.
Yeah,
I saw it in my head. I've got this. It's almost like autopilot. I'm thinking. I just think of a bad team.
It doesn't feel real, them being good.
It feels ridiculously weird, but yeah, fair play to all the teams.
I went to a Commanders game last season, pre-season game, when I went to Washington, and I paid like $20 for a ticket. I bet if I tried to go to a game like next preseason, it'd be like $100. They're that good.
I'm gonna actually Google now Ticketmaster. I realize it's probably much different between a playoff game and a
preseason game.
But if I go Ticketmaster.com and search Commanders Eagles, spoiler alert. Let's see how much it costs. What's your guess, Ben? What are you guessing?
It's in Lincoln Financial Field. I'm guessing minimum 500.
Okay, general on sale has not started yet. We can't actually find out the answer.
Probably expensive though.
Yeah, I mean, I think I paid in Philly at least £100. I want to say.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Here we are. I found the cost. So, what's your guess? I got the cost.
I'm going to say here. $550.
You're not far off. $600. That's
not
insane.
Bad. But that is a lot of money.
But it's a good atmosphere there, and
I think it's one of the best in the league, to be honest.
I was saying before, I was saying to a friend at the cabin, shout out the Howl, that I think there's some stadiums like the Bears and the Titans and the Panthers that are designed for day games because you can see all the architecture. Yeah. And I think I've been to both Bank of America and Soldier Field in nighttime, and you can't. It doesn't give the stadium justice, but Philly, the Lincoln Financial Field, is a stadium designed for a night game. It's just from the noise to everything about it. It's a perfect stadium for a night game, and same with Arrowhead, to be honest, as well. And for me, this is going to be electric. I think on Sunday. But whilst we're actually on sort of drafting mistakes and all that, you talked about before about drafting the wrong guy. Did you see a thing I thought to speak about the Raiders drafting the wrong Byron Young?
I did see that.
Yeah.
I saw that. That was quite funny.
I mean, that's I know friend of the show Baldy from the Baldy the Big Fella. Me and him talked about it. It's just classic Raiders. It's just classic Raiders.
Yeah. If there's any team to do it, it'll be them. But talking of drafts, there was a lot of talk. Amon-Ra St. Brown and Diami Brown. Amon-Ra said he's gonna be watching him closely because he was drafted before him. You know what Amon-Ra's like with players drafted before them. He knows them all off by heart. He's very angry about it. And Diami Brown for the Commanders had a fantastic game. 6 receptions, nearly 100 yards, and that catch he made, getting Commanders in great field position and the defender was covering his eyes while he caught it. It was just fantastic. I thought he was really good. Don't get me wrong, Amon-Ra was fantastic as well and has been, but I think Diami Brown was very good.
Yeah, he was, and I think the whole team, McLaurin, had this amazing touchdown play where he broke the gap between two defenders, and then not only did he,
it was like the screenplay.
Yeah, and I think there's a point where
touchdown.
He kept in bounds. So he managed to keep, not only did he break defenders, but he also kept in bounds whilst getting tackled by a Lions defender. That was an amazing. Obviously, there was the amazing.
What about Jameson Williams? Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
it was a fantastic touchdown, but what is he doing throwing an interception?
I mean, that play was just ridiculous.
But I think that goes back to Ben Johnson. They're having too much fun. I think at the time they were 10 points down. Why is your wide receiver throwing the ball? You need to get points on the board. What are you doing?
That should be a concern for the Bears. I'm not going to lie. That should be a concern because he's going to want to. You can't. The Bears are on the Lions. He's going to think he's going to go into this job thinking I can do what I do with the Lions. I can, have the. He's had an amazing running back duo, amazing offensive line.
You can have fun at the Lions. I'm not sure you can have fun at the Bears.
No, and if they get a major overhaul, this team is not good enough.
You need a lot in the off season.
And finally, I want to touch on the Lions as well. Talk about Aaron Glenn. Concerns for his defense is that one play in the game where I can't remember who the player was, but there was 12 men on field, and it was a real
on 4th and 2.
Yeah, 4th and 2.
That's when the game turned. I think it's simple mistakes like that. Maybe like you're in the zone, you're in the moment, you can't focus, but it's moments like that lose you games, and ultimately it did.
It did, and they'll be playing the Eagles as we mentioned before. They beat the Los Angeles Rams in an amazing scenario in terms of the snow, and it was an amazing setting. But once again, like he did in the regular season, Saquon Barkley stole the show against the Rams. I mean, looking at the stat line in total for this game, Saquon Barkley had, if I get it right, 205 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. I mean,
that's averaging 8 yards a carry.
It's just, I mean, there was the one play that sealed it towards the end. I think for me, the Eagles, they're just, this team is still, I think, gone under the radar because everyone talks about the Lions, they talk about the Bills, the Chiefs, and no one's really given the Eagles, I don't think, much credit until maybe the last couple of weeks or so. But this team is really, really good.
Yeah.
The defense is brilliant. I think the receiving game, you got probably the best tandem in the league, wide receiver duo in terms of Smith and Brown.
But what is going on with Brown?
Say that again.
AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts, what is going on? He hasn't been throwing him the ball. AJ Brown has had like 2 receptions in the last 2 playoff games. He's sitting down reading the book on the side. Jalen Hurts is saying he's never seen him read the book. Like, I feel like AJ Brown wants out, especially as Jalen Hurts. He threw 128 yards yesterday. I mean, a QB who's now in the NFC Championship. If he throws like that again, you can't be relying on Saquon the whole time.
Yeah, it's a worry for me because he is. I think he's a fantastic wide receiver, and I think he's just such a. I think the build of him as well just makes him a fantastic receiver.
Yeah, he's really good.
His stats in his career have really shown this. But on the flip side of the Eagles, obviously fantastic performance. I've got to give Matt Stafford and his Rams team credit because the defense I thought was brilliant. Jared Verse had another good game.
He was fantastic.
Of the year, but
surely.
Stafford, every time they were down, they kept fighting back. Stafford kept this team, and then this is what I talked about before about this Jared Goff Stafford comparison. I mean, Goff, they go down and never really looked like really winning this game after the third quarter began. But
after that big hit, though, Goff just looked so off it.
That is true, and that was I think you think about what Mahomes got a flag. The Texans got a flag 4 against Mahomes. Compare that to what happened to Jackson in the Bills game and what we saw with that Goff hit. I think. But no, I think with Stafford, I think there's no point in the game where I thought they were done apart from when the whistle went at the end of the game. I kept thinking they could come back here, and then they kept coming back, and they almost did it. And there was that,
a little bit of belief.
Yeah, and it was. I think we all thought. I was thinking watching the game, they could do this, and then obviously it didn't happen. But I think Stafford, probably every year we'd be saying this. Could it be a last game? I don't think so, but you never know.
No, I think he's got a couple more seasons in him. Maybe one at the Giants next year. That would be nice.
I mean, if he can make this Lions team win games back then, I'm sure he can make anyone good. And I think that's a sign of a good quarterback, and I think Stafford has proved it again and again.
He's a great quarterback, but I think I actually think it was, Kyron Williams' fumble. That was huge.
Yeah, that was. I literally forgot about that.
He's been fantastic all season, but in the biggest game, it's like when Jahmyr Gibbs fumbled in the championships last year. Like, no matter how good they've been, those mistakes will cost you. I don't think Puka was that good. I watched the game. He wasn't really lively until the fourth quarter, but it's like he got a big play which got them the touchdown. But yeah, Cooper Kupp, he's been okay recently. Tyler Higbee had a lot of receptions. I thought he was quite good. And moving the ball.
I mean, looking at the stat line here, 54 yards, 1 touchdown. The Cooper had almost 100 yards as well. I mean, the stats are pretty impressive, and I think for me, it just was Saquon's day, and I think that will be another big thing going into the Commanders game. But I think the way
you can't stop Saquon,
but
he's too good.
I think with the Commanders game, I think what we learned from that Commanders game, particularly the Lions game, is that it's the shock isn't out of the cards. I think we'll go into it more when we preview Commanders Eagles on our preview show for that game.
Yeah,
but I just think that after what we saw with this game, I don't think you can ever really rule out.
No, you can't, and it's probably going to be at least 80 points in that game.
I mean, what a game to look forward to, and that is all to come in our next 2 episodes.
Actually, sorry, it's horrible for me being a Giants fan.
I can imagine, yeah.
NFC East, NFC Championships is horrible. So I just hope, at that point, I want either the Chiefs or Ravens to win. I mean, Chiefs or Bills.
I can't have either team. I can't have the Chiefs for obvious reasons, the same as the Bills. So I'm rooting for definitely the Commanders.
You have to, if I wasn't a Giants fan, I would definitely be rooting for the Commanders. But now I'm rooting for the Bills.
That's like me, the opposite. If it wasn't fact they're in our division, I would be rooting for the Bills a lot more because I've got friends in Buffalo. I owe a lot to Buffalo Bills fans for my issues I had in Buffalo against Detroit. I owe them a lot, and I still got friends from Buffalo. David Caproche in Buffalo, he's at the game, season ticket holder. He'll be on the show hopefully next week to preview the game. I got a lot of I think they're an amazing fan base, and they've been good to me, this fan base, but I just can't have their team winning it. But I'd rather them in a way. I'd actually rather them winning than the Chiefs because I was tired of seeing them Chiefs winning it again and again. But definitely an NFC fan for the rest of the season.
As long as it's not the Eagles, I'll just be happy.
I don't mind.
They've got Saquon. They've stolen our best player, apart from Dexter Lawrence, but
Sexy Dexy.
Yeah. What a player.
Well, that is the end of our show today. So once again, huge thank you to Ben for coming on.
Thank you for having me. It's been amazing.
No problem at all. And for those of you who, if you want to get hold of Ben and you want to see his stuff, where can they find you on socials?
Ben Conway Media on Instagram. And then I think my TikTok's just Ben Conway.
Fantastic. Well, do give it a check out for those
who
are interested. And in the meantime, this has been our Divisional Round review with myself, your host, as ever, Andy Davis. Don't forget to use code Andy5 at fantasygameday.app for your chance of money back off your first paid lineup. And this has been our guest today, Ben Conway. And we'll see you guys for our 2 episodes where we preview Bills against Chiefs and also the Commanders against the Eagles. Take care.